Continuing with hand independence, in the last video we used whole notes to isolate some syncopation between the hands. I also introduced the idea of rhythmic resolution being related to movement between the hands. In this video, we're going to expand on all of this, but make it more difficult with quarter notes. Of course, you need to be mindful of difficulty as it relates to yourself, so if you feel you need to explore half notes first, that's great. The process is the same. So just like whole notes, we're going to start with quarter notes on one note. This isolates a more complex right, left, back and forth juggling of rhythmic relationships. We can isolate it further by playing one note in the left hand too. Next, we can try a two-note cycle. For example, with this two-note cycle, my right hand follows a simple back and forth pattern which creates various parallel and contrary relationships with my left hand. And we can invert those relationships by starting the second note cycle on the second note. Once you've learned these two exercises, we can make things more difficult by using different spatial relationships in the right hand. So using different notes, different fingers, widening and narrowing the space of the two-note cluster. Pick any two notes, it doesn't matter. What we're practicing is some kind of right-left movement in relation to the left hand. As a practice goal, try taking some two-note right-left movement in the right hand and transposing that note cluster every two notes, like this. We're preserving the general two-step movement in relation to the left hand, but changing the space in which that movement is occurring. Be sure to experiment with a variety of fingers and note clusters. Try taking it all the way up the piano and back down. Eventually, you'll reach a level of fluency where you can improvise these spatial changes. That's a good sign that you're ready to move on to three-note cycles. Three-note cycles make things more difficult because these back and forth patterns are now more complex and harder to predict. For example, with this three-note cluster, CGC, we have a 6-bar cycle and movement to the thumb occurs on every beat. Sometimes I like simplifying these complex patterns like this. With any three-note cycle, no matter what finger you start on, it's either going to be moving through your hand from left to right or right to left. For practice, make sure you're inverting this to learn a new set of relations to the left hand. And just like we did with two-note cycles, try transposing each three-note cycle all the way up the piano and back down. Hand independence at the piano isn't just about rhythmic independence, it's also about learning spatial independence, being able to play chromaticism and different harmonies freely without being bound to only playing in C.